Hi, we are the BET team from Venezuela, composed by Javier Pulido, Aitana Garcia, Luis Peroso, and myself, Stefania Galeano. Our team number is 10.
In this presentation, we'll be talking about a case fact sheet and a briefing, a timeline, and economics about BET, and finally, a summary.
Let's see the case fact sheet. To explain the current situation in Venezuela in a nutshell, we can see that they have been decreasing oil production and GDP, and although they have renewable energies, they do not have biofuels.
By 2050, Venezuela will have diversified its oil incomes to increase its energy production and strengthen its energy security, while aiming to reach net carbon zero with the development of bacteria-enhanced technology.
So, what is BET?
So this is our macro plan. VET stands for Bacteria Enhanced Technology, which is basically a compilation of advancements that use microorganisms. We plan on optimizing their characteristics in order to produce, develop, and improve energy sources in the country. This way, VET will diversify, strengthen, and boost our energy production infrastructure. VET will surely upgrade Venezuela's future. And these are our plans. First, we're going to use bacteria by directing their selected degradation of elements into heavy oil recovery mechanisms. We're also going to take advantage of their metabolism in order to produce bioenergy in a cost-effective and ecological way.
After establishing a steady production of biofuels in Venezuela, we want to engineer the metabolic pathways of these microorganisms to take it to the next level.
With that, we're also able to generate energy from sludge from wastewater.
BET will also provide hydrocarbons dissociation and energy storage applications.
And also generate electricity from ambient humidity in spaces with high humidity levels.
We will apply bacteria-enhanced technology in heavy oil recovery mechanisms. We will employ thermophilic spore-forming bacteria, which selectively degrades oil components into improving their flow characteristics. Now, this allows us to drive the residual oil trapped in reservoirs and results in a 50% extraction. This can easily reverse the declining trend in production or at least maintain a curve with a positive slope. Additionally, BET will use microorganisms to generate renewable energy fuels from biomass and biological wastes. Between first, second, and third generation biofuels, BET in Venezuela will focus on second generation biofuels, as they pose a substantial advantage to the country and its climate conditions. We can produce more crops at lower costs, which will make GDP growth and diversification faster.
Our next technology is to improve the previous one. Biofuel production improvement modifies and engineers metabolic pathways and genetic materials to create effective and suitable microorganisms and special systems. In this way, we can overcome the issues of biofuel production. In the case of problems with the substrate, we can improve the efficiency of its enzymes. For concentrations issues, we can modify the microbial strain. And for solvent tolerance, we will engineer the transporter's property of strain. This method will increase the GDP annually from 2 to 3%.
Bacteria-enhanced technology can benefit from wastewater treatment plants by implementing anaerobic digestion that can generate methane that can be converted into electricity. It can power small sectors, helping to reduce the overall consumption of big cities while also getting the most out of the water treatment plants. One of the great examples to mention in the region, it was in the Medellin River, where they applied this type of technology in the past few years, having astonishing results and getting to use 80% of the water from the river.
We will apply bacteria-enhanced technology to produce hydrogen from oil. It would employ indigenous HDHP bacteria to degrade hydrocarbons into hydrogen and acetate, which is going to be sequestrated within the well, eliminating carbon emissions. This would allow Venezuela to be a major player in a market estimated to grow 9,000%. Using current infrastructure and maximizing the useful life of the biggest petroleum reservoir in the world. BET also has possible innovations to develop unconventional energy sources and storage for renewable energies. For instance, it is possible to generate power from ambient humidity in isolated communities in the Guiana Highlands. It is also possible to store energy using microbial fuel cells and electrosynthesis, saving the surplus of renewable energy sources.
As we want to get the most out of the bacteria-enhanced technology, we have several implementations going from the ones already being implemented in the market, such as the heavy oil recovery with bacteria, to the most innovative ones, such as generating electricity from ambient humidity.
Our plan can be seen easily in these 3 milestones. In just 3 years, Venezuela will be producing 1.5 million barrels per day. Due to this increase, the oil production GDP and the energy security GDP will increase 200% and 5% respectively. And finally, by 2050, 50% of our energy consumed won't produce any carbon emission.
Just with that, we can generate a GDP growth fast enough to recover the Venezuelan economy, getting to a peak of 21% by the year 2030 with our plans. But GDP growth is not the only benefit. BET has the capability to increase oil production that, when combined with a general recovery, can have astonishing results. We're also expecting to cut the CO2 emissions by 50% on the year 2050.
This is BET by regions. For the northern mountains, we have bioenergy production and wastewater conversion into electricity. For the White Plains, we have biofuel production improvement, heavy oil recovery, and hydrocarbons dissociation into hydrogen. For the Guayana Highlands, we have heavy oil recovery, and power generation from ambient humidity. And finally, for the Maracaibo lowlands, we have energy storage.
Now we'll go with BET timeline. If we look at the timeline, heavy oil recovery is going to reactivate the economy, complemented by bioenergy production. Then, the increased income is going to be diversified to improve production and electricity generation. After that, there's going to be an amplification phase to find innovative ways to produce energy while reducing carbon emissions. In this section, we can observe how the applications that boost economy are in the reactivation phase, and the ones that produce more cleaner energy are in the diversification and amplification phase.
Let's take a look at BET economics. Who will help BET? In the reactivation phase, actors such as the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining and oil companies will be our best allies. For the second phase, the International Energy Agency and private companies like Duncan. And for the third phase, Corpolec is a great example that can help our project. How affordable is BET? In the reactivation phase, we will need capital to put the refineries into operation again, but we will have 30% profit thanks to heavy oil recovery technology. In the diversification phase, we will put all our technologies to work, and obtaining external investors, we will have 40% profit. Finally, in amplification, the production of all the technologies will be regular in every corner of the country, having 60% profit in the long term.
BET is expected to be funded not only by national companies, but also by international organizations such as the Global Bioenergy Partnership and the World Bank, and by regional bodies as well, such as the Development Bank of Latin America. We see BET as an opportunity because it has the chance to create technology transfer programs and at the same time generate collaboration among different intersectional scientific fields.
Finally, a summary.
To wrap up, let's talk about our achievements. The case asks us to determine the best possible and most effective scenarios to manage the crisis. So in BET scenario, we enable and boost our country's major production apparatus. We transform our oil-dependent economy, and we escalate the energy innovations. So answering the advice request will lead us to a reactivated, diversified, and amplified economy, a renewable, sustainable, clean energy industry. Finally, BET will lead us to a realistic balance. Still, in this realistic balance, it's okay to ask, why BET? So let me take you back to these competition's criteria. There are several pillars, like economy, environment, governance, society, infrastructure, and technology. In all of them, not only BET landmarks itself as a plan of the present to redeem our past mistakes, but it also projects a brighter future for both Venezuela and the region, with remarkable milestones such as 50% GDP growth only by heavy oil recovery, or extending sustainable practices from biofuels production, even disease prevention from wastewater conversion, or innovating with genetic engineering in the infrastructure we already have. BET is the best bet for Venezuela.
We
bet
on
Venezuela.
Bet
Bet
on
on
us.
us.